Once upon a time, in a small village in France, there lived an old miller who had 3 sons. The miller had grown old and weak and knew his time was coming to an end. He called his 3 sons to his bedside.
My dear sons, I have little to leave you. To my eldest, I leave the mill. To my second son, I leave the donkey.
Pierre, the youngest son, waited nervously to hear what his father would leave him.
And to you, my youngest Pierre, I leave my cat.
A cat? What am I supposed to do with just a cat? My brothers get the mill and donkey, but I get nothing of value.
That night, Pierre sat alone in despair, certain he would starve with only a cat for company.
Master, do not despair. If you give me a bag and have a pair of boots made for me, I will make your fortune.
Did you just speak?
Pierre was so amazed by his talking cat that he did exactly as asked. The cobbler crafted a magnificent pair. Now then, master, trust in me. I have a plan that will make you rich beyond your wildest dreams.
Puss in Boots set off across the countryside with his bag, heading toward the royal hunting grounds where rabbits were plentiful. Clever Puss set a trap using fresh vegetables from a garden. He lay perfectly still, waiting patiently.
Got 'em! 2 plump rabbits, perfect gifts for His Majesty. With his prizes in the bag, Puss headed straight to the royal castle. Bold.
The guards were so charmed by the well-dressed cat that they allowed him entry. Puss bowed deeply before the king.
Your Majesty, my master, the Marquis of Carabas, sends you these fine rabbits from his estate as a humble gift. The Marquis of Carabas? I do not believe I know this nobleman. Please give him my thanks for such a thoughtful gift.
Every few days for the next 2 months, Puss caught game and brought it to the king, always claiming it came from the Marquis of Carabas.
Partridges, fish, even venison. Puss made sure the king received only the finest game. This Marquis of Carabas must be a nobleman of great wealth and generosity. I should very much like to meet him someday. Perfect! The king is thoroughly impressed. Now for the next part of my plan.
One morning, Puss learned that the king and princess would be riding along the river road in their royal carriage. Master, you must trust me completely. Go into that river and pretend to be drowning. I will handle everything else. Pretend to drown? Puss, have you lost your mind? This sounds like a terrible plan. Though he had doubts, Pierre trusted his clever cat and did as instructed.
Soon, the royal carriage appeared on the road, carrying the king and princess on their afternoon ride.
Help! Help! My master, the Marquis of Carabas, is drowning! Thieves have stolen his clothes and thrown him in the river!
The Marquis of Carabas in danger? Guards! Save that man at once! Bring him to the carriage!
The royal guards rushed to Pierre's aid and pulled him safely from the river, just as Puss had planned.
Your Majesty, I am devastated. Thieves ambushed my poor master and stole his finest clothes. This is unacceptable. The Marquis has been so generous to me. Guards, ride immediately to the castle and bring them up. And so the guards raced to fetch royal clothing for Pierre. Puss's clever plan was working perfect.
When Pierre emerged in the king's royal clothing, he looked every bit the nobleman. The princess could not take her eyes off him.
The princess felt something she had never felt before. Her heart was captured by this mysterious Marquis.
My dear Marquis, please join us in the carriage. I would very much like to see your estates. Pierre climbed into the carriage, hardly believing this was happening. Meanwhile, clever Puss sat with the coachman, ready for the next part of his plan. Drive slowly and follow the road along the river. I must run ahead and prepare the estates for His Majesty's arrival.
Puss leaped from the carriage and ran ahead with remarkable speed, for he had much to do before the king arrived.
Listen carefully. The king's carriage is coming. When he asks whose land this is, you must say it belongs to the Marquis of Carabas. The farmers, seeing such an official-looking cat speaking with authority, decided it was safer to agree. Good people. Tell me, who owns this magnificent wheat field? Your Majesty, these lands belong to our master, the Marquis of Carabas. He is a most generous lord. You have extensive lands, Marquis. Most impressive indeed.
Puss ran ahead again and again, reaching every field, orchard, and pasture before the carriage. At each stop, he told the workers the same story.
Each time the king asked who owned the lands, the answer was always the same. The Marquis of Carabas.
With each passing mile, the princess grew more enchanted. Pierre, despite his humble origins, was beginning to fall for her as well.
Meanwhile, Puss had reached the most dangerous part of his plan. Ahead stood a dark... This ogre owned all the lands that Puss had been claiming belonged to Pierre. The door opened, and there stood the ogre. Monstrous, huge, and fearsome. Who dares disturb me? A tiny Maine Coon cat? You would make a crunchy snack. Great and powerful ogre. I have heard tales of your incredible magical powers. They say you can transform into any... True! Of course it's true! I am the most powerful sorcerer in all the land. Watch! The ogre began his transformation, and a sleek Siamese cat watched carefully. The ogre transformed into an enormous lion. Puss was genuinely frightened, but he kept his wits about him. You see? I can become any beast I wish. You should run away, little cat, before I eat you. That was truly impressive, mighty ogre. But I suppose transforming into something large is easy for someone your size. Impossible! You dare doubt my powers? I'll show you. I can become the tiniest mouse you've ever seen. The ogre, pride wounded, immediately began transforming to prove his power. In an instant, the great, terrifying ogre had become a tiny, helpless mouse. And that was exactly what Puss had been waiting for. Quick as lightning, he pounced. And that was the end of the wicked ogre. Puss had outsmarted him completely. And now, this castle and all its lands truly belong to my master. The plan is complete. Puss quickly opened the castle, airing out the dark halls and preparing for royal guests. Just as the royal carriage arrived at the castle gates, Puss was there to greet them. Your Majesty, welcome to the castle of my master, the Marquis of Carabas. Marquis, this castle is magnificent. You are clearly a nobleman of great wealth and taste. The castle was indeed magnificent. Every room was filled with treasures. Puss had ordered the ogre's servants to prepare a magnificent feast. The king, princess, and Pierre dined together. Throughout the meal, Pierre and the princess talked and laughed together. They were falling deeply in love. Puss enjoyed the feast as well, quite pleased with how his clever plan had succeeded. Marquis of Carabas, you are clearly a man of honor, wealth, and generosity. Any father would be fortunate to have you as a son-in-law.
The princess's heart leaped at her father's words. She looked at Pierre with hopeful eyes.
Your Majesty, you honor me greatly. But I must confess something important before I can accept such an honor.
The room fell silent as Pierre prepared to tell the truth.
I am not truly a marquis. I am the son of a poor miller. All of this, the lands, the castle.
The king turned to Puss, who nodded, confirming Pierre's story. Your Majesty, it's true. The wicked ogre who owned these lands was terrible tyrant. I defeated him through cunning, and
For a long moment, the king said nothing, and everyone held their breath, wondering what he would decide. Young man, you have shown remarkable honesty and courage by telling me the truth, and this cat of yours has shown it.
these lands and castle are now yours through right of conquest over the ogre. You have freed the people from a tyrant.
Your Majesty, I don't know what to say.
Thank you. I promise to be a worthy lord.
And now, Marquis, I ask you, would you do me the honor of marrying my daughter?
Princess, from the moment I saw you, my heart belonged to you. Would you honor me by becoming my wife?
Yes. Yes, with all my heart. I love you.
And so Pierre and the princess were engaged. It was a moment of pure joy.
I am just a cat who wanted the best for his master. That is the duty of any loyal friend.
Puss, you are not just my cat. You are my dearest friend. I will be forever grateful.
Weeks later, the grandest wedding the kingdom had ever seen took place. The princess looked more beautiful than...
The priest blessed their union, and they became husband and wife.
With a kiss, their love was sealed forever.
The celebration was magnificent. Everyone in the kingdom was invited, and the festivities lasted 3 days and nights. Pierre and the princess lived happily in the castle, ruling their lands with kindness and wisdom.
Pierre proved to be a fair and generous ruler. He helped the farmers, protected the merchants, and listened to all who sought his counsel. The people loved their new lord and lady, who treated everyone with respect and fairness.
Under Pierre's leadership, the lands prospered. Crops grew bountifully, and no one in the territory went hungry.
Pierre never forgot his humble origins. He ruled with wisdom and compassion, always remembering what it was like to have nothing. He kept a carving of his father's windmill on his desk to remind himself where he came from.
Pierre invited his brothers to live at the castle.
His brothers apologized for doubting him, and the family was reunited in happiness.
As for Puss in Boots, he lived in absolute luxury, just as he deserved.
And that's when I faced the fierce ogre. He was the HS tall.
A year later, Pierre and the princess welcomed their first child, a healthy baby boy who would one day inherit the castle and lands.
The baby absolutely adored Puss, and Puss became the child's devoted protector.
Every night, Puss slept beside the baby's cradle, keeping watch like the loyal friend he had always been.
You have become a fine lord, Pierre. Your father would have been proud.
I owe everything to Puss. Without his cleverness and loyalty, I would still be a poor miller's son with nothing.
Puss heard these words and felt warm pride, knowing his master appreciated him.
The castle hosted grand balls where nobles from across the kingdom came to dance and celebrate. Puss was quite the charmer, just as clever in love as he had been in adventure.
The villages that once trembled under the ogre's cruelty now flourished. Pierre ensured roads were repaired.
The grateful villagers erected a statue of Puss in the town square to honor his bravery and cleverness in freeing them from the ogre.
Not bad for a miller's cat, eh?
Years passed peacefully. Pierre and the princess had 3 beautiful children who all loved their Uncle Puss dearly.
And that, my boy, is how your father became a great lord. Through cleverness, courage, and a bit of help from his faithful cat.
Uncle Puss, you're the bravest cat in the whole world. When I grow up, I want to be just like you.
Remember, young prince, true cleverness is not about tricking others for selfish gain. It's about using your wits to help those...